पॉलिसी बाजार पर 1 करोड़ रुपए का टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस केवल 450 रुपए महीने से शुरू। Wow.
The Supreme Court is set to give its verdict today on petitions challenging the centre's decision on November 2016 to ban currency notes of 1,000 and 500 denominations, the demonetization decision. Now, the move had withdrawn 10 lakh crore from circulation overnight, and 58 petitions were filed in the Supreme Court challenging the note ban, arguing that due process was not followed to arrive at the decision, and the petitioners demand that the decision must be struck down by the court. Arvind Gunasekar joining us for more details on this. Arvind, the Supreme Court will rule on the validity of demonetization. What have been the arguments till now of the petitioners and the central government?
The Supreme Court will be giving its ruling on a batch of almost 58 petitions that were filed challenging the constitutional validity of the demonetization decision that was announced, that was executed by the BJP government in November 2016. So almost 58 petitions were filed, and sometime in 2016, that's where Supreme Court referred these matters to the Constitution bench, because some of the petitions also challenged the validity of this entire notification that was notified, that was put out by the Ministry of Finance. So after a detailed hearing, Supreme Court reserved the judgment, and today 5-judge bench headed by Justice Abdul Nazir will be pronouncing verdict on this batch of pleas that challenge the constitutional validity of the demonetization exercise. If you could see the main argument, the petitioners contended that as per the RBI Act, it was the RBI that should have initiated this entire demonetization plan. In fact, according to the petitioners, the RBI board should have recommended the exercise, but whereas it was government that wrote to RBI on November 7th advising for such a recommendation, and acting on the letter from the government on November 8th, that's the very next day, RBI board met and then gave this recommendation for the demonetization exercise. And that's where the petitioners say that rules were not followed. As per the RBI Act, it was the RBI that should have recommended this exercise, but instead of RBI recommending it, the government initiated this process, and that's where they said that it was the government that forced the RBI for such a process. Also, very importantly, the petitioners also contended that the entire plan was initiated and executed within a span of 24 hours without application of mind, and that's why they want the court to interfere in this matter and make things clear. And they have also said that earlier two demonetization exercises were executed through an act of parliament, but this time it was through a notification, a gazette notification, through executive process. And that's where the petitioners also asked Supreme Court to interfere in this matter. So after a detailed hearing, Supreme Court has reserved the order, and today two judges, both Justice D.R. Gawai and also Justice Nagaratna, will be pronouncing the verdict on this matter. So two separate judgments have been authored by these two judges. We have to wait and watch whether it will be an concurring opinion or a dissenting note. That only then we'll get to know.
Right, Arvind, and also a lot of objectives were stated when demonetization was announced, such as that black money will turn into mere piece of paper, fake currency will drastically reduce, there'll be an increase in digital currencies that will be used. So where do we stand on those stated objectives? Where does the reality stand compared to what the central government had claimed back then announcing that decision?
Yeah, Priyanshi, if you could remember, even at that time when this matter was heard by the Supreme Court, then Attorney General told the Supreme Court that they expect almost 3 to 4 lakh crore worth currencies not coming back into the, not returning to the banking system. And according to the government, this particular 3 to 4 lakh crore is what they expect to be the black money that is in circulation, and that's why they say that this will be targeted through this exercise. But if you could see the money that got back into the banking system, almost 99% of the notes denominations that were demonetized returned to the banking system, and that's why the opposition parties are questioning the government on this very own stated objective of the government, wherein they said that because of the demonetization exercise, this entire black money will be wiped out, but whereas almost 99% of the notes that were demonetized that returned to the banking system. That's something that the government is yet to respond to. And also, very importantly, the cashless economy is another stated objective of the government, wherein they said that demonetization will help strengthen the formal economy, and also the cashless India will move towards cashless economy. But that seems to be an overestimated figure, because if you could see December figure of the cash in circulation, that's almost over 30 lakh crore. When you compare it with 2016 November, when the demonetization exercise was put in motion, that was hardly only 17 lakh crore. But now it's almost 30 lakh crore cash that's in circulation, and that's where another stated objective of the government is still under question. But also very importantly, we could see the digital payments that has actually helped. The digital payments have actually increased many folds when you compare it with pre-demonetization compared with post-demonetization.